We're live.
Yep. Yeah. Cool.
That's why I pointed. That
Yeah.
was the sign.
That you actually started really comfortably this time.
I
Three,
did.
two, one, and it was great.
I did.
I just wanted to relish in the moment.
We're so relaxed now.
Yeah.
It's
Hmm.
it's a very peaceful Don't Worry Wednesday. We're
Yeah. It's a
really
very
seriously not worrying.
right, because otherwise it just becomes all crazy and hyper and stuff, and that's unnecessary. But that's how most streamers do it. They're like, "Hey guys, welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday, woo! The show where we." Okay, and so I don't think we want to do that, because that's ridiculous. So, and I'm sorry for everybody's ears, because that's just ridiculous. Like, what's with all the energy? I don't think you know, it's not necessary.
What? My oldest son, it was hilarious. He got some Pokemon cards,
Mm-hmm.
and he's been watching this YouTuber who was unboxing his Pokemon cards and like freaking out every time he'd pull a Pokemon card out of the thing. Like
Okay, just
like, oh my gosh,
overacting.
this is like my favorite Pokemon card, and then oh, this is like my favorite Pokemon card. Like every card was his
Every
favorite, right? And so my son, it was hilarious. We were all on a Zoom, like he was on there and a bunch of his friends from school and everything, right? And he's like unboxing and he's like doing it all dramatic, right? He pulls one out. He's like, "Oh man, I got this blah 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 blah. Can you believe it? Oh." And he had a box of 100 of them.
Oh no. Oh man,
We were
that's a
there for
lot
like
of
an
energy to
hour and a
spend.
half, man. I'm telling you, it was
Really?
something.
Oh man.
And that was he kind of he kind of dialed it back a little bit after a while, and was going through them a little quicker. But it was a
Oh man.
fun time.
That's great. I'm sure that's one way to take it. Make it, you know, to to take the moment and make it last a lot longer
Hmm.
is just to overhype every second of it, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey guys, welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday, the show where we talk about whatever is on your mind, not ours.
All right.
And
Yes.
this show is here because you guys are here and you guys make this show awesome. Um, so basically, you guys know the drill. If you haven't been here before, welcome. This is we just take people's topics and we talk about them. Feel
Hmm.
free to post a topic in the chat. Or if you want to remain anonymous, you can send it to us on an email, and that would be dww@bss.studio. Or you can put it on our website, on our website at bss.studio. And you could also send it in the Discord to either Joe, myself, or Princess, and we'll be happy to write it down for you.
Yes.
Um,
Happy.
yeah. And let's see. And we're not psychologists. We're not professional psychologists, psychiatrists, or anything along that side of the field. But we are people who have lived lives and experienced a lot of issues and victories, and we hope to share those victories with you. We hope to help you through your life in whatever way we can, just to give back and to be a helpful part of your life, as any friend would want to be. So that's what we got. That's what we are. That's what we're doing.
Hmm.
And cool.
You're
So is there
welcome.
everybody doing pretty good today? How are we doing? You doing good, Joe?
I'm doing great. How are you, Princess?
I'm well. How about you, Joe?
I'm
And Rye?
fantastic.
Leave me out of this. So I'm I'm doing great, thanks.
Mar, you are so correct. We are professional hairstyle opposites.
Yes, we would be.
Yep. It's always
Until
funny to watch
one
us
day.
walk down a hallway together.
Well,
That's
when you
probably
watch
not
me
that
walk down
funny.
the hallway, people
But
just assume I'm a girl, so it's fine.
yeah. And then they see your beard and they're like, oh, that's a crazy looking girl right there.
Yeah, that girl's got a huge beard, and everyone's like, "That's just a guy." Oh, you sure? Did you
That's
see the
right.
top of his head? Not the bottom of his head, but the top of his head. It's got a lot of hair. Anyways,
Hey, real quick. There are 10 people watching. We have to do this right now while there's 10 people watching.
okay.
Grab that plushie behind you.
This one?
Yeah. See that
This one?
plushie? Yes. Those are on their way. They're
Yeah,
in
they're going to be
boxes.
arriving this Thursday.
Tomorrow they're supposed to arrive at my door. I'm going to have a bunch of boxes of them. And so stay tuned. By next week, we'll at least have some links and stuff for you if you guys want them. We'll probably put them on sale or something to start with.
Sure.
Big old blowout. We'll have to figure that out. Why does she
Why
look
does
like
she
Haruka?
Well, it's supposed to be the tsundere girl. I guess Haruka has a similar color hair. That's probably why.
Yep, and yes, that is from the "It's Not Like I Like You" song. That's the tsundere
Yeah.
girl from "It's Not Like I Like You," and
Yeah.
So those. Where is Box Plushie? We haven't gotten Box Plushie yet. I know.
Yeah.
We're gonna work
It's
on
Not
it
Like
though.
I Like You. The second song is actually being in the works. I got to spend some time with Amory yesterday,
Oh, you
and we
did?
were fleshing out some lyrics. So
Yes.
yeah,
That's exciting.
I'm excited. Hopefully that continues and we can get that song out for everybody's enjoyment.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be awesome.
I'm looking forward to hearing that song.
So, enough with the updates. Thank you
Yeah.
all for being here. Let's jump right in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go through a list of people who have recently posted topics in the past. If I say your name, feel free to drop a "Yo, what's up, your mama dad" in the chat. What's up, your mama dad in the chat. Or
Yo, what's up, your
whatever
mama
you
dad
want.
in the chat?
Drop an emoji of the YouTube play button. I don't care. Just make yourself known. So we've got Ian Lam, Helmarock Hero, Pear, Lila McGee, Ezekiel Games, Plowen, Drakon, Lord Francium, Baka, Anonymous, Kendra, and Meow. So if any of you are here, I know that Baka is here, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
LG, are you any of the people I mentioned? It's possible. I'm not sure. I don't know. I know that there's a couple of names in here that the people who posted on the forums don't use the same name as they use on YouTube. So
we're just wondering if one of these topics might be yours.
Yeah. If not, no worries.
Nope.
If you use a different name on the forums than you use on the YouTube, do say in the chat, because I know a couple of you have told us before, and my brain is not working today to remember. So please remind me.
Yes.
But yeah.
A gamer's story. We did the voice actors have been cast.
Yep.
For season 2, and actually it's moving along quite nicely. And from their perspective, we are about to send the final revision of the script to all of the voice actors so they can record their parts, and so that is moving forward, which is really exciting too.
Yeah.
Well, you guys should make a YouTube post so all your YouTube people know.
We could do that.
We should
do that.
We could, and we should.
You don't have to get antsy. So
just saying.
we could
Princess.
do Baka's is what we could do, because Baka is here. And he comes on the list first for anybody else that might be here. So let's do it.
Agreed.
This is
oh boy.
Okay, cool. So this one's from Baka. It is titled "Search for Belonging." Princess is probably going to put.
She's got it. There it is. Right there,
She's got the link in the chat for you guys. You can feel free to click that link if you want to read along. But Princess is going to do the honors of reading it out loud for us.
I have had this reoccurring thought when I'm awake and in my dreams. Just the thought of being somewhere completely random. These places seem so visually present and familiar, but then I have no sense of direction. Just the repetition of losing everything, including mental and physical control. It seems weird and all, but the extensive dread of random episodes caused me to panic. The fact that it happens over and over and over, again and again, causes an increase in the panic. And to be honest, it hurts every time the thought occurs, either when I'm awake or dreaming. It makes me question everything. I know that I belong somewhere, but every time the thought crosses my mind, I question my belonging, and my mind fills with anger and fear, and then I question things I shouldn't. And to be honest, it's breaking me down more and more each day. Now I can hardly focus in school. When I try to focus, my head spins and my mind just blurs. I can hardly control my emotions anymore, and I just want to be alone. But when I'm alone in thought and physically, I start thinking self deprecating things. How do I overcome the overwhelming thought of being lost in thought and a mental place that doesn't exist? Now I can't get that out of my head. From Baka.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, that's really peculiar.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, the mind is an incredible thing. There's truth to mind over matter, if you will, especially within our bodies and placebo effects and all that kind of thing. And it's amazing that we can create entire worlds and live in them in our dreams,
Mm-hmm.
and even in our imagination while we're awake. And we can cause ourselves to have emotions, and or panic, um, or do you know all of this just because of a thought that comes into our heads, or a story that comes into our head that isn't real, right? Or we have a real story, and we keep on adding on to it in our heads in the wrong direction or the right direction, and it can really have effects on, just everything, how we behave, how we can control the situation, and etc. That's generally what fear is, when we look at something, real or not, and we kind of keep on building on it and building on it, building on it in a negative manner, and we just get scared. We get afraid that there's, this might actually happen. And a lot of our fears come from this, and it's amazing to me what the mind can do. And it's also amazing how sometimes, how so often rather, it feels we have very little control over our mind. Our mind is this tool which we have, which can do incredible things. And we have a conscience, which allows us to control our mind, but we also have subconscious, which we is just habits, right? But then there's this like third part where it's like you just don't have control. Like sometimes thoughts will come to your head and you didn't make that happen. Maybe something around you made that happen, or maybe it feels like nothingness made that happen. One very often and common concept in the religious life is that demons can give us ideas into our heads, and plant those in there. Um, or they can misconstrue a message for us and make us think about certain things that we maybe aren't healthy for us, right? Make us afraid, or, um, think of greed or things like that, which aren't healthy. So it's a very interesting thing that our minds are a tool, but we don't have full control over it. And so we live this life where we're trying to have control over our minds, and we're trying to create habits in our minds that will move us in the right direction. One of the most powerful tools in my life was understanding that the subconscious mind was something I could program,
Mm.
but I could only program it through actions, repeated thoughts over and over and over, to try to create a subconscious mind that was working for me rather than against me. And that took like a year of very concentrated thought to start moving, or to kind of set myself right. But you know, not everything is perfect still, right? And I still have that's still a struggling battle. I think we'll all have to deal with. But anyways, hopefully I've bought enough time for Joe to digest this and get a good concept of where he wants to go with this. But I'm looking forward to seeing where he has to go, what he wants to say, and yeah, take it away, Joe.
I'm looking forward to that too. I'm just gonna say some stuff and hopefully it's good. We're
Yeah,
gonna find
sometimes
out.
that's how I feel. It's literally just wing it every time, I feel.
Yeah, actually, no, Baka, I do have some pointers that might be able to help you. Because I have definitely struggled with this. I have to pattern interrupt my thought process a lot. I will very easily get stuck in a loop or some kind of a pattern of negative thought or self-deprecating thought, like what you were describing when you're left alone, physically or in thought, right? You can easily start going down this path of self-deprecation, which is basically just kind of beating yourself up, right? And I've been there so many times. I still end up there, still. And I've trained myself to interrupt thought patterns. I've trained myself to fix this. I've trained myself to meditate and to empty my mind. And even still, it can creep in and be, it can be a challenge from time to time. So there are a few things you can do that can help. I love what Ryan was getting at right at the end of what he was saying, and that is your subconscious is programmable, because it totally is. In fact, that was probably the most essential thing that I used when I quit smoking cigarettes, was the psychological subconscious reprogramming, because that's the main part of an addiction that you're dealing with, right? Now, in the case of tobacco or nicotine or anything like that, you're also dealing with a chemical addiction that's in your blood, and so you have to, your body needs to work through that, but that only takes a few days for your body to regain, balance, in your bloodstream, and get the chemical imbalance taken care of. The rest is psychological, because you've programmed yourself that this is a habit of yours, that this is what you do, this is part of who you are, and that's really the biggest hurdle to get over. And so I learned a technique called self-hypnosis, and it was basically a way for you to reprogram your subconscious mind into new activities. Now, Ryan is absolutely correct. It is the subconscious mind is programmed through actions, but those actions can be imagined, as long as they're imagined vividly. So you can, but it has to be in pictures, right? Like, your subconscious mind speaks in pictures and feelings and stuff like that. It doesn't speak in words and numbers and like your logical conscious mind does. It speaks in feelings, and it speaks in vivid pictures. And so what it would teach me to do, here was kind of the concept of self-hypnosis. So you can do this. I had this exercise. It would take about half an hour at a time every day, but you can do this in 5 minutes. You just don't have to necessarily go as deep, right? So, but what you do is you sit somewhere and you relax, and then you focus on your breathing. So you just focus on deep breathing, relaxed deep breathing. And like, every time you exhale tension out from your fingertips and the tips of your toes and your feet. And you just, every time you exhale, you picture that tension leaving your extremities and going out. And then I always found it helpful to imagine that my hands and my feet were made of cement. So they were really heavy and I couldn't move them. And that helped to just relax everything, because it's like, okay, I'm stuck here, right? And I'm relaxed and I'm focused on my breathing. And anytime a thought would come into my head, I would say, thank you, and you're dismissed. Right? Anytime, and thoughts would always scamper through my head. And then I just refocus on my breathing, just try to empty my mind and focus on my breathing only. Thought would come in my head, thank you, you're dismissed. And then close my eyes and get to that point where I'm just relaxed and breathing and focused on my breathing. And I sit there for a little bit, and then I focus on relaxing every bit of my body, starting at my toes and working up my body. And I just would think about, okay, my toes, are they all the way relaxed, or am I holding any tension? And I relax them. And then my calves, and then my thighs, and then my waist, and then up my arms and up to my shoulders and everything. And just focus on Every few seconds, I'd switch to a different place, and just to check, am I relaxed in this region of my body? And that exercise in and of itself can bring so much peace. Even if you don't go any further to reprogramming your subconscious mind, if you just do the relaxation and sitting there and the breathing, focused breathing and relaxation and emptying your mind, you end up in this state of just incredible peace because you're just relaxed. And eventually, as you sit there and you relax every part of your body, it feels like it almost feels like your body no longer exists and you're just a consciousness. Right? So you're just and when your eyes are closed, and then so there's nothing and you're just a consciousness. And now this is the time where, if you wanted to go deeper into self-hypnosis, this is where they start talking about, okay, now with every breath, you take one step down a flight of stairs. And you do this every breath for 10 breaths down a flight of stairs. And each breath is another step. And then when you get to the bottom of the stairs, you're in your like paradise location. Now it's different for everybody. Mine personally was a beach with just some like regular, they weren't palm trees, but just like regular trees. It wasn't really a tropical beach, but a beach with some trees overhead and a horizon of water, and the sky is orange, like late afternoon, and and just that orange blazing summer afternoon sky. And the water's glistening, and you can see the leaves, flitting a little bit in the breeze, just kind of. And then you just sit there for a little bit. Sit there just for a few minutes. You just, you go, maybe there's a chair there, maybe a lawn chair, maybe a towel or whatever. Maybe for Ryan, I'm sure it's like Siberia with the Arctic, and he's got a towel to lay on in his swimsuit.
Yeah, that sounds so accurate.
That's
Man, if only that was just happening right now,
yeah, Siberia in a swimsuit, right?
I'd be dead. I'd just literally die.
So anyway, so you sit there for a few minutes, and then after a few minutes, you get up, and there's another staircase down, 10 more steps, and each breath, same thing as you got to your paradise location, right? 10 steps. And then when you get down there, it's just empty. There's nothing. And in that moment, when you're down that deep in that state, that's when you start feeding yourself pictures of what you want things to be like. And in the case of, quitting smoking, they would tell us, okay, so think of like clean water, think of doing aerobic exercise activities, think of, picture being athletic, picture, those moments when you would normally smoke, picture those moments not smoking, all those different moments. So you can reprogram yourself with images when you're in that state. And then you just kind of slowly rise back to the surface and open your eyes, and and you can come back out of it. But that was kind of the technique that was really helpful for reprogramming subconscious mind. And I've always toyed around about the idea of creating some kind of guided meditation or something for that. I still might do that, I don't know. But so that's one thing you can do. And like I said, you don't have to go that deep. You don't have to go all the way to where you're going down the stairs and, sitting there. If you want to, I recommend it. If you have the time and you have the, capacity, if you're going to be not disturbed for, 20 minutes to 30 minutes, to try it. Because there's an amazing sense of peace that comes from doing that exercise. And it can be really, really helpful in kind of reprogramming if you notice there's something going on mentally that needs to get fixed. You can take those steps and reprogram yourself. Anyway, other than that, there's a few things. Meditation, that's kind of like the early stages of the self-hypnosis, right? So like you can meditate, that's also focusing on your breathing, emptying your mind. Also, if you start to notice yourself going down this, these thought loops, you can think up, pre-plan some pattern interruption things where maybe you start to notice yourself getting in this loop of self-deprecation. And so maybe you need to come up with a planned, attack on that and say to yourself something, there was an author, Mel Robbins. She used to say, she just, anytime she started to get into this mode, she would just count down from 5 and then go do something else. She'd be like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And then she'd go do something, and it would interrupt the negative pattern in her brain. A friend of mine who was on medication, and this medication would kind of make him wig out a little bit, like make him freak out sometimes. He would remind himself if he started to get all like, whoa, like started to freak out a little bit, he knew enough to remind himself. He's like, oh yeah, this is fake. This is just because I took this medicine. So he wouldn't get carried off into the moment, but he would just remind himself, this is not real. This is just the medicine. And I remember him, doing that. I was like, man, that's really awesome for you to have that type of control. Now, here's the thing to remember. With any of these things, they're going to take practice. None of them are going to be like you're going to be a pro at it right out of the gate, right? And so it's okay to screw up. I can't tell you how many times it took me to figure out self-hypnosis and to really get it to the point where it was being effective. And then also meditation, to get to the point where I could actually empty my mind and get to the point where I just exist without any additional thoughts going on. But these things, if you practice them, they can really, really help you find some peace. Aside from that, I should have probably led with this other one, and that's prayer. If you're a praying person, man, become a prayer warrior. That's honestly, I think that's how my mom dealt with my brother and I growing up. She became a prayer warrior.
Nice.
Because seriously, we put her through some I don't know how you describe it, some freaking out mom moments that she could have really freaked out, but she kept her cool.
She's got a pretty cool head.
She does. That's true. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully some of that's helpful. That's pretty much what I have to get started. And I'm going to turn it over to Ryan and see what he has to say. So Ryan,
yeah,
take it away.
Well, thanks, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
It's a peculiar situation. One thing that I can tell you is that it's a lot easier to control your thoughts when you feel like you're in control.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a lot easier to control yourself and your thoughts when you are at peace or when you're happy. When you get excited over a negative situation, whether it be positive excitement or negative excitement, we seem to lose our control of ourselves more and more. I guess that's true regardless. If when we get excited, we tend to lose our control. And depending on your personality, you lose it more or less. That's kind of what, excitement is sometimes. It's a lack of control.
Mm.
So if I were you in this scenario, one thing I would think about is when these thoughts occur to me, when you say you're kind of like in a way transported to this place where things just start going wrong in your brain. It's usually a familiar place. It feels, like you're there, and then you lose control of things, including your mental and physical um, stability, and you know, bad things happen. So, what I would say is, in order to try to retain control in those scenarios, when you feel like you're going to that place or when you get there, first thought that one of the very first things that you can think about, as soon as you notice you're there, I want you to try to, now this is going to be difficult, but bear with me. Try to like it. Try to like it. Why? Because when you like something, you have a lot more strength and control over yourself than when you don't.
It's very true.
You think about going off and doing some work, like, man, I've been working 16 hours for the past 3 months straight, haven't had a break, and I'm getting up in the morning and I have to go to work again, right? Your attitude is going to be terrible and your self-control is going to be terrible, right? But if you wake up that day and say, man, look at me go. I've been working 16 hours straight through like the last month. It's insane what I can do. I'm amazing. This is going to be great. And then you work. Your attitude's on point. And your control of yourself throughout the day is going to be on point. So when you get to this position in your brain where you start having this episode, right? When this episode occurs, try, very first thing is to interpret it as something you like. Try to find things you like about what's going on immediately. So as soon as you get to there, like, you notice like, oh my gosh, this place that I've just entered in my mind, it's like familiar and I don't have a sense of direction. I don't know where I am. I'm starting to feel like I'm losing control of things. All right, let's look around for things that I like quickly. And if I start to lose control of myself, let it be. Just watch what I do and make it a comedy. Make it like, wow, look at me. I'm so ridiculous. What am I doing? I'm hilarious. They just fall on the ground. Jeez. Wow. What a, oops. Have fun with it. Try your best to have fun with it. And the reason I say that again is so that you can start to control the scenario again. If you feel like you don't have control, your ability to retake control is going to get less and less because you're dealing with something that's in your mind. Mm-hmm. If you were doing something in real life, that wouldn't be true. But because you're doing something in your mind is telling you, hey, I'm losing control, and therefore I do not have control, and therefore control will be not optional, no matter what you do from this point. Because your mind is setting the world up, and it's setting it up for failure, for the point of failure, right? And so you're going to lose control because that's the world your brain is set up in your mind. It's what happens in our dreams. Sometimes we have these dreams and it's just like, this is the reality of this scenario in the dream. And our world is shaped around it. It's kind of interesting. I'm sure you guys have experienced this. Have you ever had a dream where like you're watching something and you're waiting for it to fall. And then it finally falls and hits the ground and it makes a sound. And that sound is a sound really happening in real life of someone like closing a door or knocking something over or whatever. And it makes you go like, wait, how did my dream line up with this real physical thing that happened, like that I heard? And it's because your brain instantly repaints the picture and builds a story around why that sound happened. Based on the world that was going on in the story, it will find a way to remap and retell the story in an instant. As soon as it hears that sound, it says, I'm going to explain why that sound happened. This. You were waiting for it to fall. You watched it fall and it hit the ground. And so your brain imagines the story as if it was pacing through time when it actually happened in an instant. Which is incredible because we can wake up. We can wake up from that noise and go like, man, I was waiting for that book to fall. But in the millisecond it took for us to wake up from the sound of that book, our brain had already made it as if we had been waiting for a whole minute. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. It's incredible what our brains can do. Mm-hmm. And so my point is, when you kind of feel yourself going into this scenario, your brain is setting up the world, and you're not going to have, if it says you don't have control, you don't have control. But you can combat that by understanding, one, that your brain is going to do what it does, right? Your brain, you have to understand, like, hey, this is my brain. I know that in my head, this is me doing this. So understanding that the scenario is going on helps. Two, don't let your brain decide how you feel. When you are going through, like, don't let your dreams decide how you feel. When you are going through a dream, remember, hey, this isn't real. This is just my brain setting up the rules of the scenario that it wants to have a failure, right? And I would go back and listen to what Joe was telling you, because if you program your subconscious mind, your brain will stop wanting the failure and start doing something else, because it's your subconscious mind that's working against you right here. Mm-hmm. If you train your subconscious mind to look more forward to success and try to create success stories in your brain, when you have a dream at night, your dreams will be less nightmares and more success stories, which is weird, but it's true. If you spend more time daydreaming while awake about things that are good, when you go to bed at night, your brain will continue to think those thoughts because they have been programmed as a habit. If throughout the day you keep on thinking or daydreaming about things that are bad, when you go to sleep at night, your brain will continue those thoughts. If you've ever played a game, like a video game or something, and were really into it, and you went to bed and you had a dream about that game, it's because you've trained your brain to be thinking about it, and it just keeps on thinking about it while you're asleep. It's the same thing that you can do to your brain if you train your subconscious mind, thinking about positive things. So one thing I want to encourage you to do, and it's doing what Joe was saying, on top of that, throughout your day, maybe in prayer or wherever you can, if you're at school, just sitting at your desk and your brain goes blank for a second, and you start to, zone out, that's okay. I don't know if Baka is still in school. But anyways, wherever you are, if you start to daydream about something that you like, something exciting, something fun, something neat, something interesting, maybe something like, man, I wonder, you have a thought like, the sun, it's pretty cool. How come it dyes things like sun dyed? It removes the pigments. Like, what's happening there? And you just let your brain wander, trying to calculate out what's going on. Why are the pigments fading? Why is the try to explain it. And maybe you won't come up with an answer, but it's a thought that now you have taken a moment to train your subconscious mind to be curious. You've trained your subconscious mind to calculate and to try to find logic in something. So really, really understand it's okay if you space out, right? It's okay if your brain kind of goes blank. It's okay if you have those moments where you just lose all focus. Because we all have that, especially us people who have ADD or ADHD. But it happens. When that moment happens, as fast as you can, try to find something that take this moment to train your subconscious mind, basically. Take this moment as a, okay, here's my opportunity. Let's not waste it. And if it takes you down that place where you don't have control, where it starts causing you to feel in a panic, right? If that's where it's going, try to find a way to like it. Because if you can like it, I guarantee it will stop. Why? Because your brain will not understand, okay, I like this. I'm trying to make something I don't like happen. And now I'm liking the thing that's not happening. What? Why? And then you break the world that you've created. Because your brain is specifically trying to be negative. Your brain, it's interesting because we all do this. It's not that we want negativity in our life. It's not that we want to be upset when we're upset. It's that we get attached to it. And sometimes our brain just wants to see the next step and the next step and the next step going down that line. And one of the best ways to defeat it, in my experience, is prayer, asking for help from the Holy Spirit to guide my thoughts and to be with me, but also breaking my brain on purpose. Just breaking my brain on purpose. Like, that's where you want to go? All right. Then I'm going to throw my brain for a loop and make myself think that this is going on, or try to like shove this into the equation. Yeah, now you can't do what you're trying to do, right? You play your cards against your brain sometimes in life. And sometimes that's how it gets us ahead. It's weird. There are many times where our brain, like for example, our emotions. Our emotions are a subconscious response to something, right? But our emotions aren't inherently correct, right? They're just a response. They're neither right nor wrong, but sometimes they can be. Sometimes they can lead us down the wrong path. And in that case, I would say, well, maybe those emotions aren't very healthy, so maybe I should try to steer clear of those, right? Sometimes we get emotional about something that someone did, someone did something to us, right? And we get really emotional about it. And like we are freaked out for the whole day. And by the end of the day, we come to the realization that we were in the wrong the whole time. That the whole time we were just being prideful, or we were being stubborn or selfish, and it wasn't the other person's fault. It was our fault. And we just caused ourselves a whole bunch of trouble for a whole day, or maybe even like a whole month, right? And so sometimes our emotions, right, we have to look at them and go, hey, I know you're there, but I'm going to try to trick my brain right now. I'm going to try to solve this before you freak out. I'm going to try to triumph over my subconscious mind, because, like I said, there are so many times in life where that's where we get ahead. And it's not that emotions are bad, and it's not that logic is better than emotions. They're both a part of us for a reason, right? They're both good things, and they're both healthy things. We need them to cooperate with each other. That's what we want, right? We want our logic to cooperate with our emotions. So, Baka, I know that you have a constant struggle with emotional control, right? And you are going to triumph. You are going to get emotional control. I can tell that because you are focusing on it and you're trying. So, in this trying, in what you're doing, I want you to keep on trying. Don't lose hope, because like I said, it took me like a year to start getting my brain to work with my brain, like to stop worrying so much about when people said something, I immediately assumed that it was about me and that it was bad. Like, I didn't even hear what they said. What's wrong with me? Like someone whispers in the corner of a room, I assume they're talking about me and they're saying something terrible.
And then their friend starts laughing.
Yeah, and then their friend starts laughing.
Like, oh, now they're making fun of me.
Yeah, and then they look around the room. Oh no, they're looking around for me. They're trying to make sure I didn't hear. No, Ryan, that's a dumb subconscious like habit. And it took me, like I said, there's so much to emotional control, but you can get it. Don't feel stressed out or upset that you don't have full control over your emotions. One, we never get full control over emotions. And two, it took me a year. It took Joe, who knows how long, I don't know. maybe he doesn't even know.
I
I
don't
don't know.
know. I'm still
Yeah,
working on it, I think.
we're all still working on it. So don't fret that you're not there already. I want to encourage you to keep fighting the battle you're fighting because you're doing great. And right now you're going through a really hard time, which makes for a hard, solid foundation when you succeed. Keep that in mind. When you go through a really hard time to accomplish something, you develop a foundation that is way harder and stronger than when it didn't take much effort at all. It's like building on stone instead of sand, right? That's the difference. So take what you have as a blessing and understand it. Man, it's hard and it's not nice. It's not fun, but try to make it fun because this is a foundation upon which you can build some incredible emotional control that people, including myself, will admire. So, hats off to you and Baco Breaker. Just keep on, I'm so proud of you. Just really, really I am. So, anyways, I'm going to give it back over to Joe and see what he's got to add on to that, if anything.
Yeah, there's not much I can add on to what you said, but I will say there have been some really, really great things coming through the chat while you were talking.
Yeah.
Caitlin King says, one thing that helped me was to remember that my thoughts are not the same as me. I can have a thought without it being true. That is absolutely true. And even feelings are like that too. Feelings aren't necessarily, we don't, they don't define us, right? Our thoughts and our feelings are separate from who we are and what we are. And, they don't necessarily represent who we are and what we are. So we can, and sometimes all it takes is reminding ourselves of that. And we can, fix a negative pattern. There's some other stuff in here too. Thank you for that comment, Caitlin.
Yeah.
Also, let's see.
Sophia said that she had a similar problem and it took a long time to get out of, but again, it's just like another success story, right? Because Sophia's awesome. We all know that.
Patience is key. I remember in her quote, this is going to be an effort that might take some time and it might take some self-forgiveness as you go through it because you're not going to be perfect at it right off the bat, and so the key then is to not get discouraged when you mess it up. I have learned to be comfortable with the fact that I probably will fail just about everything that I try at least once. Maybe many times, and I hate that feeling, but I've learned that that's just how we learn. Marhandi says to avoid being lost in thought, I also recommend focus on the here and now and how you can connect to what you're currently thinking of. So so focus on what's around you, focus on what's going on in the world around you. Caitlin, again, I love to make a mindful cup of tea or hot chocolate. I love this one. Pay close attention to all the sensations, the sounds, the feeling of the mix, the tea bag, whatever, the metal of the spoon and the hot liquid, and just ground yourself with those sensations.
That's awesome. That's brilliant.
It's awesome stuff. So I gotta hand it to the chat here. You guys are like kicking some butt here.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then LG had a question. I think this is related. How do you let go of the attachment when it feels so comfortable? I've prayed and all of that, but the thoughts keep coming back to me and my flesh wants to hold on to that negative feeling because it's just so in that anger, how can I let go of it?
Play When the Darkness Comes.
You could do that.
It's just frustrating because I'm a Christian. I keep failing at this area in life. I also was going to make that a topic if you guys wanted to.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Save it for that.
Yep, we can totally do that.
I feel like that's a good topic.
That is a good full topic, I think. But
that's true. That's a full topic in itself. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway,
Princess, thanks.
Yeah, you guys in the chat, you guys are really awesome. Thank you so much for all of your input and keep it coming. You guys are amazing. But I did want to also, because I would be totally remiss if I didn't say something about this. But exercise. I know. I'm a broken record, but seriously, the connection between your mind and your body is real and powerful. And I'll never forget the first time I listened to the Miracle Morning book on Audible. And he was the guy who was going through the problems. Hal Elrod, he's the author. He was going through all these issues. He had his foreclosure going on. His business went down. Like, he lost 2/3 of his business overnight in a recession. All this stuff was happening to him. And his friend said, "So are you running?" He's like, "No, I don't have time for that. I'm trying to figure out how to deal with this stuff." He's like, "No, you need to go running." He's like, how's that going to help me? He's like, "Trust me." And so he finally did it, right? And then it was amazing. And I'm continually amazed by this. I'm on a fairly regular exercise regimen right now. And every time I get done, I'm exhausted, but yet my mind is clear. I'm thinking, about the things I need to do. I'm thinking about, all right, this is all, it clears the fog and the mud and everything. And it really, really, really helps. So I'm telling you, that is something to definitely try. So other than that, man, Ryan, did you have anything else with this topic?
Awesome. No, actually, I don't. I think that we covered it pretty well, and I hope, Baka, that we have helped and we've encouraged and inspired you to keep on keeping on, because like I said, you're amazing, dude. But we really are proud of you. And so keep up the hard work. I know that it's not easy, and I think that you will overcome this. It's unfortunate that there's no thing that we can do to just help you overcome it in a day. It's one of those things that you have to build in yourself by training, right? I would love it if there was just a, hey, yeah, do this once and it's over. Man, that would be great. But the thing about that is things like that, they never last. You can do like you do your laundry once. Wait, no, you can't. You can do your laundry once, but if you only do it once, your clothes are going to get really gross. But there's few things in life where you can just do it once and then it'll call it good. Yeah, a lot of things just need you to build that foundation. And so, Baka, you just work on building that foundation. Just have that in your mind. So when you are going through a bad day and it feels like you didn't accomplish anything, or you kind of just let yourself go, and like Sophia said, be patient with yourself and understand you're building a foundation. It takes time, and you can do it though. So anyways, love you, man, and thanks for the topic. We'll moving on to the next one then.
Yeah.
I'm gonna run through the list here once again, and if you are here, feel free to drop anything you want in the chat so that we know that you are with us. I've got Ian Lam, Helmarock Hero, Pear, Lil McGee, Ezekiel Games, Plowin, Dracon, Lord Francium, an anonymous person, Kendra, Meow, and LG. Helmarock, are you still with us? I hope so.
I saw your name in the chat.
I saw your name and you said, "Hey, I actually arrived on time this time."
Yes.
I hope.
Yes, thank you. Please ping Helmarock Hero.
Yes, please ping him. Everybody ping Helmarock Hero. No. Spam.
Oh, and we have Plone too.
Sweet, Plone is here.
Excellent.
So if Helmarock Hero doesn't respond within the next few moments, we're gonna do Plone, because they are first on the list here.
Yeah. Helmarock is not responding to the pings. Helmarock, if you're lurking, I love you.
Yeah, I know. Helmarock likes to lurk. Sometimes, man. Anyways, he has a great topic too.
Oh!
Yay!
Boom!
What up? He gave a dab. I just gave a dab online, and I'm sorry, everybody. That's the first time. What are you doing?
Dabbing.
What was that? Okay.
Just be careful. I might start flossing.
Go for it.
It's hard to do in a chair with a microphone in front of you.
All right.
Moving on.
Helmarock Hero has a topic for us. I'm so excited. this has been sitting here since March 10th. So it's about time.
Mm-hmm.
It's about space. It's about time I slap you in the face.
What?
So my mom
Wait a
always says that.
minute.
It's about time. It's about space. It's about time I slap you in the face. Something like that.
Oh my
Or it's
gosh.
about time I slap your face. That's how it goes.
That sounds like your mom.
Time I slap your
She's
face.
amazing.
Yeah, she is amazing, and she never means it. Of course, she's just repeating things she heard when she was young.
Ah, yes.
So, okay, cool. Thanks, Princess. I already got the link in the chat for us. So, this is from Helmarock Hero. It's titled Love and Beliefs. If you want to read along, feel free to click that link. And so, yeah, take it away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in a talk where the balance lies between loving others and standing firm in our beliefs. That's something I've been mulling over often these days. From Helmarock Hero.
Awesome. See, this is a really good topic.
Mm-hmm.
There are definitely times in our lives where we feel like, man, I love this person. Oh, and by the way, if you have any updates on this thought process, Helmarock Hero, if you've come to any, conclusions or any ideas or any more questions, since this topic was posted, feel free to post them. Okay, you say on behalf of past me's lack of time management, I apologize for keeping you waiting. Hey, no problem. We love you, man. We're just happy you're here. We're excited. So, yeah, like I was saying, there are times in your life where you look at someone and you say, man, I love this person, and they're doing something that they shouldn't be doing. What's the right approach? There's many times where some people would say, well, you got to correct them. Some people would say, well, if you correct them, you're only going to push them in the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's true. Sometimes loving someone, as we like to define love here, loving is the desire the best for someone. That's ultimately what love is. When you desire the best for someone and you have the willingness to take action on that, right? I think that's the essence of love. When a parent loves a child, when a child loves the parent, they both just want each other's, not happiness, the best for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so it can be an interesting line to tread. Relationships always are. They're complicated. They're intangible. They're not physical. They're manipulatable through conversations or through actions and through things we aren't doing or things we are doing or through misunderstandings. And they are just a tricky creature. So, yeah, with that said, I'm going to give it to someone who I feel is very confident or competent in handling this, who has had a lot of struggles in his life with things like this, of this nature, particularly. He knows that he has. And so I'm going to give it to the person that has the best experience, and that's Joe.
Oh,
I think he's
man.
going to have the best answers here.
I appreciate you saying that. I feel like I'm a novice at this. Absolute novice.
See, that's how good he is.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It is an interesting topic, and I'll tell you what, Helmrock, thank you so much for the topic. Wow. So, okay, where the balance lies between loving others and standing firm in our beliefs. Now, here's the thing. We can always stand firm in our beliefs for us. Always. Right? Because loving another person does not mean compromising your beliefs for yourself. Right? So the question probably then, I'm guessing, is that, okay, when do I point out something and how do I do it and all that kind of stuff? Like if I see something going on that I believe is wrong and somebody else believes it's right, how do I address that? Or do I even address that? Is it right for me to address that? And the answer is, it depends. It depends on your relationship with that person. And it depends on the likelihood that they will listen to you based on their current condition. So there are a lot of things it depends on. And sometimes even when you analyze the situation, you look at it and you're like, okay, I think I'm the right person to say something. I think they'll probably listen to it. I think that it'll probably go over okay, and it'll gain some traction. There's still a really good chance that when you say something, it's going to seem like it was fruitless, because they're just going to come back and they're going to be upset, and they're going to be mad, and they're going to, flip out on you and stuff, or maybe they'll just seem to ignore you and just walk the other way and psh, whatever, dude. Like, it could go like that. But if you have that relationship, if you have some influence with a person, then you most likely at least planted a seed. And one thing I want to encourage you in anything like this, think in terms of playing the long game. Don't think in terms of, I need to reform them immediately. Now, if somebody's going to go rob a bank, you can do whatever you can to restrain them, because it's going to be bad for lots of people, including them. If somebody's going to do something that's really, really urgently bad, then yes, stop them. Do whatever you can to stop them, right? But most of the time, I think what we're talking about here are things that we see somebody's behavior, and it's not like super duper harmful in the moment, but deep down, it's harming them over and over again inside, and it's causing them to move in a bad direction or whatever. I would encourage you to think in terms of the long-term game, right? Like, okay, so we've got our lifetime. And you might plant a seed here or there. But here's the thing. If you destroy the relationship, you aren't going to be able to plant any seeds later. Right? So this is where tact comes into play. This is where loving other people comes into play. And like what Ryan was talking about, pure, real love is desiring the best for someone. Absolutely. And I would encourage you in any issue like this, two things. One, I already said it, and I'll say it again, play the long game. So don't think you need to get immediate results, okay? The other thing is seek first to understand them and their point of view before you seek to be understood by them. So ask them questions about, how they come to this. Where did they come from? How is this all working? All these kinds of things. Seek to understand the other person before you go off like going crazy, because you might have something wrong in your thought process. You might have a detail that's off, and if you come in guns a-blazing, you might, say something that's absolutely untrue, and then you've lost all credibility because you didn't seek first to understand. You jumped to a conclusion. And so now what influence do you have? Right? There's none. But there's a few things to remember too. I don't know the specifics of the situation. Helmarock has an update. I'd say overall I'm still mulling over the same thing, by the way. I do know there was a topic a couple streams back that did help, but obviously love to hear more on this subject directly. Okay. So it wasn't really an update, but all right, cool. Here's some interesting, I don't know, this might be of interest to you guys. I'm a Catholic, right? I'm a Catholic convert. I grew up a Methodist, and then I became non-denominational Protestant. And then about 2017, 4 years ago, I became a Catholic. And nobody else in my family is Catholic, except my brother married a Catholic girl, so he became Catholic when he got married. But other than that, it's just us, right? My wife's not Catholic, my kids aren't Catholic, my parents aren't Catholic, And it was a hard road, because I became convinced of the truths in this faith, and to convert was very, very difficult and painful. And not just for me. It was painful for me, but it was also painful for my wife, and my kids didn't really understand what was going on, but at any rate, it was hard. But in light of that, see, I understand. If we're talking about religion, I know God can reach people through any avenue he chooses. It doesn't have to be one church or another church. God can use any religion to reach people's hearts, because he loves us and he wants to reach us. And so any pathway he can find, he's going to try and, connect. And so recently, this is very interesting, I've recently got a new Audible book. I got the Book of Mormon, because I know some LDS people and I don't know much about that faith. And so I'm going to learn it from the source. I also got the Quran, because I know some Muslim people and I don't know much about their faith. And I want to learn from the source. I don't want to learn from, people I know telling me what they think the religion is. I want to learn what is actually taught. So then when I have a discussion with people, I can find that common ground. We can find our similarities and our differences. We can find, places where we can relate. We can still have a loving conversation and still pray for each other that we grow closer to God, which is ultimately what we want. And, but so I did that. I was like, it's very interesting, because I know a lot of people who would just be like, no, you can't pollute your mind with stuff, and it's this way or no way. And it's like, I don't, the thing is, even if that was true, like, I still want to understand. This is part of me seeking first to understand, right? And so I would encourage you, with whatever the situation is, you're dealing with somebody you love, you're seeing something that you don't believe in going on, before you take some firm, rock hard stand and, say something that's definitively, stark and steadfast, ask. And ask not for the sake of gaining ammunition, because I've done that before. Ask questions
That's
so I can find a hole.
Failure we all do.
Mm-hmm. And so I can find a hole and exploit it and shoot more holes in it. That's not right. That's not going to help anybody. You ask questions because you want to understand. You understand where they're coming from. And only then will the relationship get strong enough for you to truly help one another, because they might have some stuff in your seeking to understand. They might enlighten you in some ways that maybe, you might find your beliefs, even though you don't have to compromise your beliefs, you might find yourself, wait a second, maybe I wasn't 100%, accurate on what I thought was going on. Or, that's been the case with me so many times, where I've believed really strongly about something, and I've come across and I've said something, and then later on I discover I was kind of right.
But mostly wrong.
But not really. And so so luckily I have gracious people in my life that are friends of mine that, have helped me along the way. But I'll tell you, those are the two pieces of advice, and then a whole bunch of extra words to go along with it. But Play the long game and seek to understand the other person. And stand firm in your beliefs in you. Right? But rather than judge another person before we understand what's going on, or to make some kind of judgment call even, it's way better to have a little bit of patience, a little bit of grace, and a little bit of inquisitiveness, where it's just like, hey, just a relaxed, hey, I'm just trying to understand what's going on. And you can do that all in a loving way. It's wonderful. And it can really strengthen relationships. And that's really going to be the foundation for anything that you do. So that's what I got to get started, at least. So I'm going to turn it over to Ryan. Ryan?
Awesome. Well, yeah, no, I'm glad Joe was able to go first in this. I think he said a lot of really great and helpful things. I pretty much have nothing else to add. I think I can just second everything Joe said, when it comes to dealing with others, when you have a certain belief and maybe they're not, you don't want to, like, I think I'll just start with this. Hero has a update, and he said, you're already covering it, but just to give more context for me, the belief I was referring to was my own Catholic beliefs in particular, and where to make the compromise between standing firm in those and making sure I'm not alienating the other party or making them feel like I'm against them by holding those beliefs. So something that naturally happens in relationships is when you say that, hey, I'm of this religion, especially Catholicism, because Catholics have a history of being kind of intensely strong with their moral beliefs.
There's a lot of hardliners.
A lot of hardliners, yeah. And some people are overzealous in the idea of like calling people out. Like, you're not following this, you should be doing that. You're doing this, you need to do that, And yeah, those people exist in every religion. But yeah, Catholics, they can get a bad rap for it, but so do others. For example, Muslims also, and even I guess especially Baptists. But anyhow, the point is this: when you announce, or people know that you're of a certain religion and they're not of that religion, in the modern world, they immediately assume that you're against them. Because if you're not a part of their religion, then you're not a part of the right system. And therefore, you are the enemy. You are the person they need to convert. And that's true even for atheists. A lot of atheists who don't believe, who claim they don't believe in anything, say, like, if you're religious, I'm going to try to convert you to being not religious.
Mm-hmm.
Because you need to know the truth. There is no religion out there. Well, okay, that's not how they would say it, because that doesn't even make sense. There is no God out there, is what they say. Or there is no higher power, yes, or whatever, right? There is no religion out there. This is a dumb statement, obviously.
They might say there's no legitimate religion out there.
Yes, right. And as a Christian, you might look at someone and say, hey, you're on the wrong side of the fence, buddy. Like, you need to come over here with me. We got it right over here. And over there, you got it wrong. So, just saying, you should join forces with me. So there's this natural tendency to think and act and feel as if we are not with each other. And it naturally alienates us from each other. We alienate each other in politics. How do we do it? We claim sides. Right? You say, oh, I'm Republican. Oh, I'm Democrat. Okay, we're enemies. No, you're not. You're not enemies. What do you want? You want the same thing. A better America.
Right.
You're not enemies. right? And so it's the same thing in religion. If you have your understanding right, you can look at another person and say, okay, yeah, they're not the same religion. It doesn't make us enemies. And I don't have to alienate them, and they don't have to alienate me, right? If we do, we're just playing into the cards of Satan, if you will, or playing into the cards of society, society's misunderstanding of the situation. For thousands of years, we have had this concept that if you're of a different religion, then there's that war. But again, that's immaterial. It's not real. It's just make believe. That war doesn't need to exist. It just does because people think it does. Mm-hmm. You walk up to someone with a loving attitude saying, hey, I know we have different religions. I still love you and I want the best for you, right? And that's your common ground. And if they want the best for you too, understanding that, if you both understand that, then it doesn't matter when you disagree. Like, for example, me and Joe, we agree on everything. But if we made it, if we, no, if we, like, I can say the stupidest thing and I don't have to regret it because I know Joe, like, he's awesome and he's going to forgive me because he doesn't care about punishing me. He doesn't care about trying to get the upper hand or wanting to be better. He wants to be better than he is, but he doesn't care about being better than me. And it's the same back from me to him. When we first met, Joe was, well, when we first met, not immediately. We were already friends for several years, and Joe started asking questions about religion because he was a Protestant and I was a Catholic. Mm-hmm. And he was asking all sorts of different questions. Now, the thing was, this was amazing because Joe, sometimes he would pick on us, right? Me and my brother.
Sure.
But it was always in good fun. Always. We would fast for Lent. And he would go, oh, I got this nice bologna sandwich I'm going to eat right now. Oh, too bad you can't have meat. Oh, I forgot it was Lent. Whoops. You know, like, that's what he would do. And it was funny. We didn't mind. We're like, yeah, dude, just go ahead, rub it in our faces. It makes the Lent even better. It makes fasting more worth it. So we didn't mind. But we would have these we had different opinions. We had different beliefs about stuff. And we fought on these things. One of them was like contraceptives. You know, that's a big issue in the world. Contraceptives being like, you know, taking a pill or whatever to avoid getting pregnant, things like that, or, you know, that sort of thing, right? That's a pretty big topic. And we disagreed on certain parts of it. And so we would have long debates, mostly him and my brother, but I would be, you know, listening or being a part of them every once in a while. And there were many times where Joe's questions breached our understanding. And we had to look it up. Mm-hmm. It was like, what do we believe and why do we believe this?
I asked the hard questions.
Yes. And it was great because we would look it up and we would find the answers. And you know what it would do? It would just reconvince us of our faith. Because it would be like, wow, that's a fantastic answer. That's a fantastic reason for believing that. And I didn't even know it. I'm an idiot for just believing it blindly. But I'm thankful I did, I guess. But our relationship was never damaged. We never thought that it was a battle between a battle that would end a relationship. It was always a discussion. It was always an enjoyable experience. It was an enjoyable experience because we intentionally made it so. We wanted to further our understandings. We wanted to test ourselves and test each other. We wanted the answers, we wanted the questions answered. And that was a wonderful thing. Mm-hmm. So when you have someone in your life who isn't of the same faith as you, right? How you tone yourself is super important. How you frame yourself is super important. And they can see through you if you aren't. If you are attacking them because you want to hurt them, they will see that.
Mhm.
But if you are questioning because you want to prove them wrong, if you're questioning them because your intention is to prove them wrong, they will see that. And Joe did do that to us. But the thing was, his intention for doing so wasn't it was from a very sincere and loving manner. And we appreciated that about him, right? And so even if people say, okay, you're standing up for this, right? And I don't believe in that, so don't force it on me. You can say, okay, I won't force it on you. Because here's the thing. If they're not of the same religion as you, okay, hold on. I'm gonna step back for a second. In the Bible, it says, hey, if your brother is having an issue, talk to him about it. Or if your enemy or whatever it is, if they're having an issue with you, talk to them about it. Get it solved. If they're sinning, talk to them about it. Get it solved.
Mhm.
If they aren't fixing themselves, they're not correcting it, pull them in to a priest and let the church tell them. And if that still isn't happening, then they're going to have to go off on their own and figure it out. They're going to have to test the hard waters of exilement until they come back reformed, right? And so that's what it says, right? Keep it understanding that statement is about people who are Catholic,
Mhm.
of the same religion. You are not going to take someone who is not your same religion into your church and being like, my priest is going to tell you what's up. They're going to be like, no, you're an idiot. Why are we here? Right? So when you find someone who has a different religion than you, a different religion than you, and you don't agree on a moral stance, you hold your ground. They'll hold theirs. It's fine. Here's the thing. It isn't your job to correct them. Whose job is it to correct them? God. Period. God will give them the life that they have, and their morals will be questioned and tested throughout their lifetime, just as yours are.
Mhm.
Almost every week, something about you gets tried, tested. That's the world we live in. It's the natural way the world works. So let the world do the testing on them. It's not your job. If they share the same belief as you, then you can try to help them in that. You can say, hey, look, I see you're going in the wrong direction. I want to help you because I've gone in the wrong direction too. And I know that together we can work on this and we can move forward, right? That's awesome. But if they're not of the same religion, you don't have to worry about alienating them. You don't have to worry about correcting them. You don't have to worry about telling them that they're wrong. They will find that out in due time. If you continue to act out your moral faith, they will see the fruits of that. Right? If you continue to be an upstanding person, they will see you, watch you, appreciate you, and see the fruits of that sort of thinking and that action and that mindset, etc. And in that, they will start to come over. They will start to go, okay, I can maybe see how that's true. They'll start to give in because they can see how pure you are, right? And they can see that the benefits of being pure. But you don't have to rub it into their face, right? You don't have to say, hey, what you're doing is wrong. So if you want to remove the alienating boundaries, when you approach someone who's not of the same religion, you just give your disclaimer. The classic static piece disclaimer. Ryan Seawald disclaimer. Just throw it out there. What is it? It's just you say your thoughts. You say, hey, look, you're of this religion. I'm of this religion. Don't feel alienated. don't feel like I'm against you, because I'm not. I'm totally for you. I think that you're awesome, and it doesn't bother me at all. I just want to be friends, so don't worry about it. Like, problem solved. 90% of the time. If the problem isn't solved, then it's with them and their issue. And if it isn't solved with them, then you just need to have a discussion and say, hey, look, the world wants us to fight because for thousands of years, religion means that you have to, the other person's wrong and you're right.
Mm.
And here's the thing. Like, God will work whether we believe he'll work or not. Doesn't matter. God is how he is, whether you're right or I'm right, it doesn't matter. God is right. And so I can be wrong. You can be wrong. But here's the thing. I'm still going to be your friend even if you're wrong. And I hope you're still my friend when I'm wrong, because I'm going to be wrong. And I hope you're there for me when I'm wrong, because I'm going to be there for you when you mess up or when you're wrong, right? You just talk to him about it. And you should be able to solve that dilemma. And it's not necessarily easy to get into, but if it comes up, you can always just come out and talk to him about it, right? I was about to type out a very complicated question to you. Essentially just awesome. Essentially just answered it. Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, no problem. So if they feel alienated, and you can notice that, just pull them aside and just say, hey, look, don't worry. I'm not going to sit here and correct you. Like, I realize that we're different religions. That's okay. That doesn't bother me. I just appreciate you for who you are and that you're with me in this world. I want you to, I want to be friends with you, So don't let like something like that get in the way. We all have time to learn and grow. We all have time to understand better the world around us. So, etc. Blah, blah, blah. I've spoken for quite a while, and I'm going to move it back to Joe. Joe, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Well, I noticed a comment from Baron. Baron says, "Since when was religion about flexing?" I was like the bodybuilder religion. They're all about flexing. They're like, yeah, ooh, oh, look at all these veins popping out of my arms, like.
I see what religion you really are, Joe.
Sorry. I've done a lot of studying. I'm putting together a fitness program, actually, and I'm in the final phase of testing it right now, and it's been hard, but there's been a lot of study involved in trying to figure out what's effective, what's not, what actually can be worked. So anyway, I just saw that. I was thinking of flexing, and I was like, yeah, I've seen a lot of pictures of people flexing over the last few months.
Oh jeez, can't get out of your mind. So that's great.
But anyway, no, man, I really don't have much else. I think Ryan, you nailed it, man. And if it's a religious discussion, then yep, there has to be some degree of tolerance. Meow, I saw your comment. You've got a philosophical concept a little bit ago that goes along something like this. I call it the perspective realities concept. It basically states that everyone lives in their own perspective reality, and that things that are true for them might not be true for you. Now, I would agree with part of that. There are things that are absolutely true, I think. So you can't,
like mathematical equation.
We can't go so far to say that everything's up for grabs, because the force of gravity, it's real, it exists, it doesn't care whether you believe in it or not. If you fall off a building, you splat on the ground, right?
You at least hit it.
Yep. Taking somebody else's stuff is not good. Killing another person is not good, right? I mean, there are some things that are absolutely true. And so I would agree with what you say, because there is perspective. Everybody has a different perspective on things. And when you get into religion, absolutely. Now, one of the things that's interesting is, like so many religions, we still have the same creator. It's just different people's experiences with that creator, right? Ryan and I would talk about, we're Catholic, but we also agree, we also believe that there are people that are in heaven that came before the church existed. So, and they weren't Catholics.
Right.
Didn't exist yet. There couldn't have been. So there have always been people who sought God in the best way they can, and God has always sought after us. So I mean, in a religious discussion, that's where it takes, like Ryan was absolutely hitting the nail on the head there. And I know you probably have heard that there are Catholics who take a hard line and say there's no salvation outside of the Catholic Church. And that statement has been made. However, the Catechism does go into very specific detail about the fact that that God finds people through many different religions. Now, there's one that I don't think, like the occult, maybe not. That one
could be. I always remember your experience with the that you stated. I can't remember if you had an experience or you just said it, but you were like, if I actually think this stuff is real, I should probably stop. Like, it's like, I can worship Satan, but wait a minute. That's if I believe that I'm worshiping Satan and I believe all of that, then I think I'm on the wrong side of the fence here.
Might wanna stop. But yeah.
You might want to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hey, even that,
Yep, there are pathways, but that's the thing. So we don't have to take a hard line and be like all about proselytizing everybody and trying to get them to be what we are, because like Ryan was saying, God will find people where they're at.
Yes.
And a person never converts another person to anything. That's always a decision made within themselves, between them and their creator. That's it, right? That's where that conversion happens. It doesn't happen, between two people. It's an internal thing, right? So anyway, because we're all people and we have a whole total mixture of different beliefs, we should learn to get along.
Yeah, because we can learn a lot from each other, especially if we have different beliefs. As Meow was saying, we all have different perspectives, right? And I think that that's super key. Even if you have different perspectives in the same religion, we can learn from each other. And we have different perspectives across different religions. We can learn a ton from each other because there are truths in that religion that are helpful to us, regardless of, where they came from. Truths are helpful. Wisdom is helpful.
Yep. I got to tell you one thing. I am very, very excited. I just started the Book of Mormon today.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm really excited. It's like 30 hours long. It's a big one.
It's a big one.
It's bigger than the Divine Comedy, the Dante's Inferno and all that stuff, everything. Right. So it's big. But at any rate, I'm really excited, and here's why. Because anytime I've met a person who's devoutly Church of Latter-day Saints, there seems to be a peace about them. And they generally tend to have pretty virtuous lives. And I admire that a lot. And so I'm excited to hear what makes a Latter-day Saints person tick. Because that there's a peace and a joy and a virtue involved, right? And that those are good things. And so anyway, before we go down way too far, understand, yes, patience, grace, love them. And if the fact that you are a certain religion makes people think that you fall into a camp that's against them for whatever reason, then maybe it's your chance to explain to them, like Ryan was saying, no.
Yeah, you just tell them, like, hey, real people who are really of this religion, they don't hate on people. Like, the media will tell you that we hate gays and we hate all these sorts of things. The media doesn't know what it's talking about. They're not Catholic.
Right.
Or else they wouldn't say those things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, here's what we really believe. We believe in loving each other. So we love gays.
Yeah.
Period. There you
Love
go.
everybody. And we're going to love you in a non-selfish way, in a way that desires the best for you and not imposes our whatever we think on you. It's like, we want what's best for you, and we want to love you to that point.
So
did we have a comment in there?
I think Princess is, yeah, I was going to do this as well, I think. So yeah, there's more. Helmarock asked a little bit more.
Okay.
But I don't know if she's saying we might. Wow, she's saying we might want to move on. Just because we spent enough time on it. We spent an hour and 4
Either
minutes
you
now.
can cover the next part of what he said as its own topic to finish off the live stream, or we move on to a new topic and save it for another day.
Okay.
I have a feeling it's going to keep going, and I'm sorry to interrupt you guys, but we have like 20 minutes left, so we have enough for maybe one topic. I don't want you to keep continuing to just, not that it's not bad, but if we want to get to another topic today.
Yeah. So Hammerock Hero, do you want us to save your comments for another topic? Obviously, it really falls in line with this, and then we don't have to cover new ground, or recover ground next time. But I think if you want, we can go to someone else's topic too. So I'm gonna leave it up in your hands there, if that's cool.
I like your hands.
That's fine. Don't let me take up all the time. All right, cool. We'll say this one for next week. And if you're not here next week, we won't do it. Okay, that's not true. I just wanted you to come. We'll write it down. Thank you so much, Hammerock Hero, for the topic. And yeah, we'll move on to the next one. Since I believe Plowen is with us, right?
We have a poem from Harmony.
Oh, okay. Feel free to read it.
Welcome back, Harmony. The poem is, Why must I stay? But why must I go? If I leave, will that make you sad? If I stay, will you hold me through the dark night? Why? Why must I stay? Do you love me like you say? Should I stay? Should I go? You, yes you, got to let me know. Harmony, you should stay.
I love you.
Or go, if you want.
Yeah, if you got more important things, go. But if you don't, we love you here.
And thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being with us.
Yep.
Thanks for the poem.
So, are we going with Plowens then?
Plowen, are you still with us? I hope so.
Also, that might be a larger topic, but I don't know.
Plowen.
You should actually ask. No, harmonies.
Oh.
There's a lot more depth to that could be, but
it's just a poem.
It's fine. But poems also speak volumes.
Yes, they do.
In a different dimension.
Yes, they do. And sometimes lyrics do too. Or sometimes they're just random words like...
True. Well, if they're lyrics, yes.
Yes.
I wrote this. It sounds cool. It doesn't mean anything.
Harmony says it's just a poem. So...
Okay.
We're good.
Just a poem. Kendra, if you have a topic, please put it down.
Kendra had a topic. There's a topic.
It's already in it. But Plowen is still earlier than hers.
Yeah.
Is Plowen still here?
If Plowen might not be with us anymore, they might have had to have gone bye-bye. See ya. That's how I said it. Gaero, Gaero. If you are here, let us know. It seems like they have gone, but I could be wrong. We also have. Is there a possibility that Anonymous is with us?
There's a possibility Anonymous is still with us. Anonymous, if you want to message me, you can.
Cool. Otherwise, looks like we'll do Kendra's.
See you later, Raka.
Love you, Raka. You're awesome. Thanks for chilling with us.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. Look at it. We got a lot of people I haven't seen in a while today. Welcome, you guys.
That's great. It's great. I'm happy about that.
Me too.
It's good to see you guys.
And all the great wonderfulness in the chat too. You guys, man. And did you see Ryan today?
Did you?
I
I
did.
didn't. Oh, I saw myself in the video.
Did you know that
This
video
one.
killed the radio star?
This one. Did they? That's mean. That's
Video
rude.
killed the radio star.
We should hate the video for doing this.
Yeah.
Dang. So immoral.
Ugh. Ugh. Dang video. Killed the radio star.
Jeez.
All right, I'm guessing maybe internet killed the video star.
Yes, that's actually true. That's true.
Yeah. You know,
Actually-
MTV wasn't all that great anyway, ever. I wasn't ever a big.
Yeah. I'm okay with it.
Oh, yes. So should we, should
One
we?
moment.
Oh. We're
Un
momenting.
momento, por favor.
Un mom.
I don't think that the R that I rolled was supposed to be rolled. Por favor. No, it's not. It's not a rolled R. My apologies, everybody who is Hispanic, or Spanish speaking.
Yes. Hey, you see that guitar back there?
Which one?
That one.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. I fixed it.
Oh,
It's fixed.
Nice. Nice.
You're like, okay. That's random.
that sounds like me. I would just do that. I would be like, hey, you see that? You see that owl right there?
Yeah.
Anonymous is here.
Cool. Very cool. Glad you see that. Okay, cool. Well, since Anonymous is with us, we'll do theirs.
Yes. Let us do anonymize. Anonymouses.
Anonymouses.
Yes, that one.
And
I better fix
since
that.
we are nearing the end of our show, we'll have to keep that in mind, not to take too long on it.
Yes. We can do
Cool.
it. We can
Perfect.
do
Okay,
it.
so Princess has posted the link in the chat. This is titled "Caring Like a Mom," caring like a mom, and Princess is going to do the honors of reading it for us. Thank you.
I've known this person for a little while, and we've talked and stuff. We've been doing a sort of role-play-ish thing where I'm basically their mom, even though they're older than me. But recently, they've been telling me something really disheartening. They've been contemplating changing their gender, but when they brought it up with their parents just laughed at them. I really want to be there for them my entire life, because they've been through a lot, but I fear it's not possible. Even if we're just online friends, they're really close to me and I love them dearly. I just want to make sure they're never alone. From Anonymous.
Yeah, it's a great post.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really like that you are understanding the reality that, people in life, they come and go. And I want to let you know that's okay. Like, you will come at your later ages in life to appreciate that. And there is this sense of nostalgia that can come from it too, which hurts, but it also feels good. But you'll get there when you get there. Anyways, yeah, I think that this is a really great topic, though, and I really just appreciate your caring. You say caring like a mom, which is, funny, but I just really appreciate that you care so much about this person. And ultimately, we just got done talking about love. Love is to desire the best for someone. And so I think it's, the best thing you can do with the time you have with them now is to love them, to desire the best for them, but not just desire the best out of them, to bring the best out of them, right? That's something that will never go away. I've had many relationships. There are some relationships with people I will never meet again. But in that little time I had with them, I know I made a world of difference to them in that time. And that difference carries with them for the rest of their life. That difference, that sense of love, changes who they are and carries on and changes their life forever for the rest of their life. And I think that that's really beautiful, right? It's a beautiful thing. There's a great song. It's a song we sing at church. I used to talk about this, but I haven't talked about it in a while. And It's called The Summons. I would recommend listening to The Summons. It's a great song. But maybe I'll talk a little bit about this when it's my turn to talk, because I don't want to get too carried away. But I'll save that for later. But anyways, I just want to say it's great to hear that you care and that you really want to do something good with the time that you have with them, and that you want to make sure they don't feel lonely and that kind of thing, because it does stink to feel lonely, right? So maybe Joe will have some good wisdom on this. So I'm going to give it over to Joe and see what he's got to say.
Well, thanks, Ryan, and thank you, Anonymous, for the topic. This is tough. I know we've addressed stuff like this in the past. Gender transitioning, all that kind of stuff. And for me, my heart goes out to anyone who's struggling in this area, because to me, for those of you who have heard me talk about this before, I'm probably gonna sound like a broken record a little bit, but it's such a deep thing, because our biological sex is wired into us inside every cell of our body. It's in our chromosomes, right? And so like that is a deep, it fills us, our biological sex. Now I understand there's a difference between what people feel like as their gender and sex and biological sex. I don't necessarily know all the details of that, but to be in conflict with that, to feel a conflict inside me with my biological sex, seems to me like it would be so deep and hard to deal with. And I'm so sorry to anyone who's going through this, because it would seem to me that it would just be such a sinking feeling to have to deal with. And then on top of it, with your friend Anonymous, like they expressed this to their parents, and the parents laughed at them, and it was like, oh, really? Just, like, they didn't even seek to ask any questions. It was just like kind of a laughing thing. And I don't know what would have brought that response. I don't know if they didn't know how to respond, and so it was like a nervous thing that was the reason they laughed. I don't know. I'm not them. And the other thing also is since you know this person, Anonymous, you can speak to them a lot better than I can, because you know them at a deeper level than I do. But some of the there's some things to think about, really. I mean, and I don't know how much of our transgender or any type of gender confusion somebody might feel, any type of questioning in that area might be brought on by societal stereotypes. I know I've heard that that's not all of it, but it seems to me like it could at least be part of it, because a lot of times you start seeing people who are transgender, they start to dress and act like the opposite gender. And so to me, that like looks at, okay, it's kind of like a societal, like, this is how they dress, this is how they act, and so this is how, and that's how I want to be. And so, and I understand it goes deeper than that. But I'm just, for me, in my mind, I try and get to the bottom of things, and I'm always just like, okay, how do we rationalize this? And for me, inside me, I've never been a woman, so I have no idea what it feels like to be a woman. And so for me, I'm like, I don't know how to even say I feel like I ought to be a woman, because I don't know what a woman feels like. I try to understand, and boy, that's a moving target. I'm married. But that's hard. That's but man, I'll tell you, I understand this is a real struggle, and a real deep one. And probably there's a little bit of a lack of acceptance for self as well. somewhere swirling around in the mix of all these feelings with questioning gender and what should I be and all that kind of stuff, there's probably somewhere deep down inside thought of maybe I'd be more acceptable if I was the opposite gender. Maybe I would be able to accept myself better if I was if I was the opposite gender. And so there may be a self-acceptance thing going on as well. And so one of your jobs as their friend anonymous is to accept them for who they are. Because gender transitioning it's a tough thing. It's painful. You're rearranging body parts, if you go that whole way. There's hormone replacements. I mean, it is a battle to go through that. And if somebody doesn't have to go through that for whatever reason, it seems to me like it would just make their lives easier if they didn't go down that road, if they didn't feel like they had to go that far. And to me, it's just, I just feel for people in that situation. I really do. It's hard for me to understand. I want to try and understand that better. But one thing I do understand is that it's a deep struggle. And for you to be their friend anonymous and for you to really love them for who they are, whatever gender, regardless of gender, to love them as a person, that's going to be hugely important for you to do. Because maybe you can prevent them enduring some pain through your acceptance. Maybe you can provide them with some comfort as they travel down this road. You can provide them with a solid foundation of someone who says, hey, no matter what you decide, I'm going to love you. It does, there's nothing, in this situation, whatever your decision is, I'm not going to stop loving you. And that might just be enough to get them to accept themselves a little bit more and feel a little bit more comfortable in their skin and to get through another day. Sometimes that's all we need. Sometimes just knowing that we have somebody that's willing to talk to us can help somebody through a day. I know that's been the case for me many times. Where I've felt just down about stuff or broken because of stuff going on, and then I end up talking to somebody, and then we don't even talk about the issue. We don't talk about any of that stuff, but just the fact that somebody's willing to talk to me about anything is enough. And you can be that person for them, Anonymous, and I hope you do. And that's what I have. So I'm going to turn it over to Ryan. Ryan?
Awesome.
It's all yours.
Well, yeah, thanks, Joe. And to kind of add more to what Joe was saying, that's why it's so awesome that you are there for them, because yeah, it's what they're going through is really hard. And so it's great, whatever you can do to be there. One of the things though is this comment gives me an interesting thought. I'm going to share it with you, an interesting perspective. Sometimes we need to back up and take a quick look at something. And then, sometimes we need to back up and take a second look at something we might have overlooked or looked at too quickly. And that's this. So they've been contemplating changing their gender. And when they brought it up with their real parents, they just laughed at them. Okay. Why did their parents laugh at them? See, we like to have this assumption that their parents are terrible people, especially when we are talking about something like changing their gender. It's it's a hard thing to talk about, and to bring it up to your parents, you have this natural tendency to think, oh, they're gonna be against it, etc. And so here's the thing: if the parents laughed at them, it doesn't mean one of the things that comes to my mind is this, rather. Sometimes when people tell me things that I don't know how to handle right away, I will laugh. Sometimes when people tell you things that you don't know how to handle right away, whether you intend to hurt them or not, your response hurts them. Does that make sense? It could very well be that when their parents laughed at them, it wasn't because they were like, haha, you're funny and you're an idiot, or haha, that's a funny joke. It could literally just be, haha, what do we do? Let's hope this passes and we don't have to say anything. Let's hope, like, because I don't know what to do in this scenario, so let's just hope it passes. Maybe they don't know what to do about this scenario. Maybe they don't know how to react. And because they don't know how to react, they just respond with laughter. Or they pass it off as like, oh yeah, that's funny. Ha ha ha. Because I can't guarantee that's why they laughed. But it's important to understand it's a possibility. It's important to understand that's a possibility, and it's important to tell your friend that. Because your friend coming from a position where they're like, my parents might hate me if I say this, but I'm going to say it. Yet they had the gall, they had the trust of their parents to tell them in the first place. So clearly the tension between the relationship of them and their parents isn't a huge issue. So then bringing out like, hey, I'm thinking of a gender change to trigger a laugh out of the parents tells me, when you are going into a situation, you're like, man, they might disapprove of this, what I'm about to say. So any response sounds like disapproval. You know what I'm saying? Like you go into it and you're like, if I say this and they're good, if they laugh at me, then it's because they think I'm wrong and I'm an idiot and they don't love me. And so then you go in, you say it and they laugh at you and you're like, yep, they don't love me. I'm an idiot. Right. Great. But the truth of the situation might just be, it's like, hey, you just said something totally that caught us off guard. We still don't know how to answer this. We still don't know how to respond. And so we laughed because when you have this conflict of emotion, sometimes you just laugh. You just like, okay, it's too much, right? So bear that in mind. Talk to your friend about this. Go a little bit farther and don't let them convince themselves, because they're going to try over and over to argue that their parents don't like them in their own brain. And you need to help them work around their brain sometimes. Because I know I've been in that situation, and I know I've caused people go through that situation by how I've responded to people, and then found out later, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to fix this right away. And if you have any contact with the parents, let the parents know. Like, talk to the parents and say, hey, talk to your kid. So I just want to make sure you understand that there's a possibility that the parents aren't trying to make them feel lonely, aren't trying to cast them out. Maybe they do. Maybe they do cast them out on a regular basis. Maybe the child, right, the person you're dealing with who is older than you, doesn't feel a connection with their parents, and it feels like they're always alone. Maybe this person feels like they don't have a relationship with their parents, right? Because their parents are always busy. They're always too self-absorbed and they're doing something on their own. Whatever. That is the common scenario in our society today. But it's a false idea to think the parents don't love the child. The parents probably love the child. They just don't know how to be a parent. And you know what the truth is? Even the best parents don't know how to be parents sometimes. We only get it right on accident. We only get it right because we try. That's it. You try, and sometimes you get it right, and sometimes you get it wrong. So if you have the chance, talk to this person and truly, to the best of your ability, get them to break down the scenario and truly identify the emotions of the parents. Are the emotions of the parents disapproval and pushing them away because they don't want to be a part of the child's life, or are their emotions of the parents a response of, hey, I don't even know how to react to this, so I'm not going to talk about it. Sometimes in life, I'll tell you what, we don't bring up things because we're afraid of what people will say in response. We're afraid of the answer. Sometimes in life, we have a question in our mind. We're like, what does this person think about this scenario? And we never ask it because we're afraid of the answer. I got to hand it to the person, whoever your friend is, who brought up this desire to their parents. I think that's awesome. But the parents might be on the fence about the scenario, and they're afraid of how their child will react if they disapprove of it. And so they just laugh. Or they're afraid of what the child will do if they approve of it, because they don't know the outcome. We never know the outcome. We never know where life is going to take us, right? That's a song, and I'm sorry to say it. No, whatever. It's my own song. Who cares? We don't. Yeah, we don't know at all where our decisions will lead us. All we can do is make decisions and hope they lead us in the right direction. And as a parent, you look at your child and go, that's a big decision. That's a loaded decision right there. You're saying you want to transition from being this gender to this gender. That is so loaded. Because not only are you changing your body, you are changing the way the world looks at you. You're changing possibly the ability for you to get a job in the future. You're changing the relationships you have with people already and the ones that you will have in the future. You are changing an insane amount of stuff that we can't even comprehend right now if you go through with the process of changing your gender. Now, here's the thing. Yeah, we would love to live in a world where you can make a decision and it wouldn't impact society and how they think about you. But the thing is, that's true. And you know what? I'm glad it's true. I'm glad it's true. Because actions should have consequences. Now, good actions shouldn't have bad consequences, right? And bad actions shouldn't have good consequences. But we live in a world that's semi-chaotic, and sometimes they do. And we have to understand, like, hey, we don't know. We don't know where this life's going to go. And so we have to understand the parent's point of view, and that is, this is a big statement. Laughing it off, or even laughing at them like, that's funny, get out of here. Or, don't joke about this type of thing. Or even if they were like, how could you be so dumb? If the parents were like so crazy to say something like that, which I doubt it. I doubt that's the way they laughed at them. But if they laughed at them like, wow, you're an idiot for thinking something like that. Okay, humans are humans. I'll say that it's possible. It's incredibly unlikely for a parent to do that to this child. But humans are humans. They're capable of doing that. If that's the case, still, we shouldn't write the parents off as inherently evil and terrible. The parents are probably trying to figure out what to do themselves. And they're trying to figure out their own lives at the same time. So my point is, if you are worried that they're going to be alone because they don't have good parents, you're probably worrying about something that you don't need to. We should never put the blame on someone in this kind of scenario, right? Wow, that person's a terrible person. No, they're probably just overwhelmed and confused. 9 out of 10 times, that's the case. And so don't use this moment. Don't use this. Now, this is really important, so listen. Don't use this scenario to help your friend pin themselves against their parents. Don't increase they're distanced from their parents because they're afraid of their parents' thoughts or words. Don't don't at all costs try to make sure your friend loves their parents. And because that's going to improve their relationship with their parents and help them through this. If you take this moment, and maybe you already have, and I have done this, so it's okay. If you go, wow, that's terrible. I can't believe your parents do that. Your parents are terrible, right? If you've done that, that's okay. I've done that before too, but I was mistaken. I don't want you to go down that path. Don't take the opportunity to, what's the word? Don't comfort someone by pointing out the flaws of their enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Don't comfort someone by pointing out the flaws of their parents, because their parents don't need to be enemies. And their parents are the best case scenario here. Whether they need to change gender or not, the best case scenario is that them and their parents can actually talk about this and understand each other and get it figured out one way or the other. The important thing is ultimately that this person, that your friend, feels loved and recognize that they are loved. They probably already are loved, but they don't feel it. They don't know it. They don't notice. They don't know what it is. They don't recognize it in the moment. And so I want you to make sure you can spend time, as Joe was saying, making sure this person feels accepted, feels loved, feels accepted for who they are regardless of their gender, that you like them. Because there's a lot more to a person than their identity in gender. Their identity doesn't get summed up by male or female. What kind of video games do they like? Do they like video games at all? Maybe they don't. Do they like the smell of dust? Do they like, that's a weird question, but there are so many things that are a part of our lives. We don't need to overemphasize the idea that gender is our identity. And we especially need to steer clear from saying, my interest in the other gender is my identity. I'm gay, is what someone would say, right? I'm not gay, I'm straight. But that's not who I am. That's just my interest. I don't go, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something. Okay, if I was into NASCAR, I wouldn't be like, I'm a NASCARian. And that's the epitome of my existence.
You might, though, if you were in NASCAR. I've met
If I
some
was
pretty
in a NASCAR,
passionate
let's say that.
NASCAR people.
People who are in NASCAR, incredibly passionate.
They are passionate. Yes.
But people are passionate about sex too. So
That's, yeah.
it's an equal example. So my point is this. Make sure they understand that their identity isn't summed up by what they want to be on the outside or the inside. I think the inside matters a little bit more, what they want to be on the inside, their virtues, the kind of person they want to be, how they treat other people, how they handle situations. Those things are really good things to foster and have an identity wrapped around. But simply, oh yeah, I've got genitals, so that's all I am. I'm just a body and genitals. Or I'm just a being that walks around and appreciates the gender woman, and that's all I amount to. No, we don't think that. So we shouldn't act. No one thinks that. No one thinks that, right? But the way we talk about it is as if we think that. And it causes our minds to go down roads that they don't belong on. So if you can take the time, spend time with this friend, do things that makes them understand you will appreciate them for who they are, not for what gender they are or gender they're not, but for who they are on your daily interactions, the things that they say, the things that they notice, the way they respond to things. Compliment them on those things and help them understand they're awesome the way they are already. They're already awesome the way they are. Let them know that they're loved. And steer them towards a better relationship with their parents. And I think that will lead them, no matter, even if they never speak to you again in life, if you can do that, the rest of their life will be way better because you were in it and because you did that for them. Out of sacrifice and out of joy. So do that for them. And that's the best response I've got. I guess we're already at like 2 hours and something minutes, but
Yeah.
Joe, if you had
And
anything, I'll allow you to say it.
We've got a time sensitive topic from Meow too. So we might want to, if everybody can stick around, we might just do that. I can for another topic if we need to.
It's pretty short.
Okay. I did need to. I did want to say there are going to be times in all of our lives when we face some kind of a challenge to our belief system, to our worldview, to whatever's going on, and I think that applies to everybody, including our parents. When I announced I was becoming Catholic, man, it was crazy. In some ways, it would have been easier for me to say I was becoming an atheist, or that I was becoming a Muslim or whatever, right? Like, it would have been more palatable to some people than becoming Catholic. Now, I know this is not the same type of thing, but the illustration I'm making is that it challenges people's worldviews when we're going to change something about ourselves sometimes. And so sometimes people don't know how to respond, so they just immediately have some kind of an emotional kapow, and it can throw everything off. Right? And that'll happen it'll happen to all of us at some point. We'll have some kind of something will happen and it'll just catch us off guard and we'll have some kind of reaction. Now, it doesn't justify a poor reaction. It doesn't make it right for someone to act insensitively or disrespectfully, toward another person. When someone comes and says, "Hey, I'm thinking I need to transition to another gender," there should never be any other response except something compassionate, in my opinion. And inquisitive, maybe, and just asking, like, how did you come to this conclusion? Like, what makes you think that? How do you feel this way? I'm not trying to pry. I'm just trying to understand, stuff like that, where there's a dialogue that can happen. But I'm guilty of it too. As a human being, sometimes we get caught at a weird moment or whatever, and I try really hard to, be good. And I fail. But, hopefully, Anonymous, your friend hasn't made lifelong enemies with their parents over this issue. Hopefully there can be some understanding gotten to. And I honestly think that the way you treat your friend could have a lot to do with how well they do with their parents. It really could. Just the fact that you're there for them and give them a solid friendship to rely on might make them feel safe enough to go and try and build a bridge to their family, as I saw Caitlin say. Attempting to build bridges with the parents should absolutely be the first attempt. There are some situations where it just won't work, and I would agree.
Absolutely.
I would absolutely agree with that. Sometimes people are just too set. They're too set in how they think, and they won't change. They won't even consider what another person might be thinking. And that's a shame, because they're missing out. They're potentially losing a deep, loving relationship with another person. So anyway, that's all I had to say at the end of that. So
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anonymous, and thanks, Joe. Thanks, Princess, as well. Princess, what is this topic that we have for Meow?
Meow says, I want to wear cat ears to school next week, but I'm having some hesitation. So hesitations include insecurity, anxiety, questioning why I want to, worrying that it'll make me feel even more anxious and nervous than I already do, and worrying about what others will think. I thought I'd see what all of you think. You don't need to go too in depth. Thanks, Meow. So it's just like they want to wear cat ears to school.
Fantastic.
Oh. Is there like a school code rule or something against it?
That'd be one thing I'd look for.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. One, there's a couple of thoughts I have immediately. Will it make you more anxious and make you feel like people are looking at you? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
However,
because they're gonna look at you.
If you're doing it as an exercise to train yourself to have more self-confidence, then you just accept the fact that everyone's gonna look at you. So you just go, yeah, I'm wearing cat ears right now. What up? And you own it, and you're going to get a lot better at dealing with confidence issues if you ever have any. But if you want to wear them just because you think they're stylish, I get it. There are all sorts of different styles. I would look into this. Yeah, like Princess and Joe said, is it a school code? I think that's
other than that, just wear it and own it. I mean, I wore an Ebe costume to school, partly because I actually was taking a picture for my photography class.
Did you say Ebe?
But partly because I wanted to. Yes, Ebe. It's a indie, not so horror game.
Oh,
because
okay.
It's princess level of handability.
Gotcha.
And I actually at school, like it was hilariously enough in the lunchroom was the only place where they had a problem. Where one teacher was like, "Hey, you gotta take that off." And I was like for the wig, and I was like, "Okay, why?" And they're like, "Because then we can't tell it's you." And I'm like, I mean, like, does this cover more than like hoodies or a mask? You know, I mean, like, okay, took it off, put it back on after I left the cafeteria. School was fine, but you know. Some level of that is, of course, if like people have issues with it, it is respectful to like take them off, you know. And by that I mean like teachers and stuff. If kids have a problem with it, just go meow and just own it. Just own that you are wearing cat ears right now. Yeah. And just make it a joke. If you make it a giant joke, people will laugh.
That's true.
Or if they
you
don't,
can pretty much cast anything off.
Who cares? You're a kitty cat, and you meow meow meow, and you meow meow meow. Find a meme.
Yeah. We
well.
spend. Meow has a comment. I'm just worried what people would think and what effect it would have on me. You know, I have spent so much of my life worried about what other people think. You know, it's interesting. I came to the conclusion not too long ago. Most people that know me probably think I'm an idiot and a failure.
Oh, you're saying most people. I was like, not me.
And a reproach, you know, and like, you know, all kinds of stuff. I just came to grips with this fact. I'm like, you know, most people that look at me and look at all of the things I've been through and all the different stuff, you know, I mean, I've been through a lot of crazy, weird craziness. And most people are probably like, man, what an idiot. And you know what? When I came to that conclusion and I came to the thought that I was like, you know, most people probably think I'm kind of an idiot. It was kind of liberating. Because I'm like, well, if they're going to think I'm stupid, I guess I can't go much further down, you know?
Yeah, what's it matter if I do something stupid then?
Big deal.
That's normal yeah, who cares?
Right.
They're not going to think any different.
They're going to think
do something amazing and they're not going to think any different. So
exactly. Exactly. Right? Like, it doesn't matter. So really, and this is a great exercise. I think like what Princess and Ryan were both saying, if you own it and just do it, you're going to feel nervous inside. And it's okay. But next time you face something that challenges you, you know, inside, it'll be easier. you'll be able to deal with it a little bit better. Wow, hey, buddy. Stink bug just landed on my arm.
It's like, you don't have a dog. What's going on right now?
What is going on, man? It just landed on me. Yeah. So anyway, I'm with Ryan and Princess. I think, hey, do it. If there's nothing that's gonna be a problem with and get you in trouble. And I think also you said something about how you had a friend, somebody you like to be friends with that wears cat ears. It could be a possible connection point to that person. You know, you could just kind of look at each other across the room and go like, hey, you know, cat ears. You know?
Hey, le meow.
Yeah, le meow.
Le meow.
And you can actually get those connections in another way too. Like if you do something memorable like that, you know, people in your class probably won't remember a lot about you, but they might be like, "Oh yeah, I remember you. You wore cat ears in school that one time."
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's totally cool.
You know, another thing you could do, if you have a person that you wanna be friends with, they wear cat ears. Ask them this question. Go up to them and go, "Hey, I recognize obviously you wear cat ears, and it's awesome, and I wanna like, how'd you get into that? Because I want to do it too." You know, and that'll be great. It'll be super awkward for you for the first couple of seconds, but if they're wearing cat ears, they're obviously and they're already owning it. They're not gonna be like, "Oh no, you noticed?" Like they're gonna be fine talking about it. So make it a point of interest to talk about. If you want to be friends with that person, go talk to them about it. You think that, hey, that's super cool that you're able to do that. Let me know, like, you know, what's your story? Blah blah blah. So it's a really good way to just be friends with someone, is to notice something interesting about them, and they're making it plain as day that this is what's interesting about them. Mm-hmm. They made it easy for you.
And you can also like ask them like, "Hey, you want to like do cat ears together?" And then you make it like a little thing, you know, like a little skit of like 2 meows. Whatever. I don't know.
Depends on your personality.
Mm-hmm. It really does.
Some people are into that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, totally.
But they also might be up, like I know from many conventions and other stuff, like people could be like totally like, "Oh, hey, you want to do this too? Cool. Why don't we like cosplay together and we can both like, you know, even if it's not the same universe, you know, you can create whatever you want with your imagination." So.
Hey, you know what? We have a comment from Saule. Also, Princess talking on a topic is wonderful. Princess, you're wonderful.
Thanks.
You know what we're going to have to do? We're going to have to remake this screen and add a third box.
No, you don't have to, Joe.
It'll look something better. It'll look better.
It will look better.
Topics will take longer, but you can have me on screen if you want, I guess.
Yes, we might have to rearrange and see how we could figure that out.
I think I'm canceled. You should just take me out. I have no reason to be here.
What?
Joe already has anything I say. Joe already can cover. He can say it all.
Stop.
Princess has a new look on this that we definitely don't have. Mm-hmm. And so I don't need to be here. I think
no.
I think Princess.
Sit back down in your chair, sir.
We need to have 2 long-haired blonde people.
No, see, like we already have. See, even if I leave, we still have 1 long blonde-haired person. I'm just more convinced. I can go. Princess will take my spot.
Just because I can look like you doesn't mean that I'm going to.
Well, you won't act like me, but that's the point. Like you're gonna have something better to share, you know.
You share very wonderful things with very wonderful perspectives.
You do. You do.
Oh,
so I think if we were gonna do anything, it's better to add than subtract.
I agree. You're not also, getting out of this, Ryan.
Nope, we're only adding now. This is a 3-hour stream.
You're not getting out of this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you got other stuff to do. I know you gotta go, you know, play with your Tsunzane
I don't have a beard, and I won't
has.
have a beard, Raka.
I shave my beard sometimes. You'll just think that I shave my beard.
Sometimes, occasionally.
Yeah, that's the same word. Different way of saying the same word.
How about rarely?
Rarely. I rarely shave my beard, but when I do, you will think that maybe it'll be next week. And then you'll be like, "Wow, Ryan, you shaved your beard." And no one will realize that it was Princess until she starts talking.
You got to keep your beard next week.
Shave it off and just put it next to me? Is that?
Yeah, that's, you know, If you can shave it off, put it in a little Ziploc baggie or something. Ziploc with a Z.
Yeah. Mm.
Keeping it fresh.
What, does he need to water it like a plant?
Sorry, there's a word used for fashion, and that is fresh. Keeping it fresh. And so I just imagine someone wearing a Ziploc bag, and they're like, "Dude, what's with the zip bag? What's with the Ziploc bags?" And they're like, "Keeping it fresh."
That's right.
Ziploc is not clothing, and that's not what they mean by keeping it fresh. Stay fresh.
Oh my. Yes.
Yeah,
That's a
it's
good
definitely
th-
Ziploc with a Z, not a Ziploc, because you don't.
We would have,
I mean,
you
you-
know, if we added a third box on here,
We wouldn't know where to put it.
we'd have to figure out how to put it somewhere.
Hmm.
That's all right. We can figure it out. We'll toy around with it.
Here,
Oh,
you
boy.
just make Princess the entire background, and then you have me and you in this chat box, and her face.
How much would I ruin it if I turn on my video?
It would be. It would
wouldn't
get
ruin
funky.
it because I would
like
just leave.
you.
Oh, jeez, nope.
What'll
So-
happen is I will have a line in the middle of me, and I think probably Ryan, you'll stay on the top, and Princess will be on the bottom. So Princess, you will be Joe. I will be half Static and half Joe, and Static will be Static. I think.
We should wrap it up because it's about
Sounds good.
2:30 at this point. So,
Yeah.
thank
All
you
right.
for
Well, we will
coming.
take it under consideration. Thank you for the statement
Recommendation.
there. Yes.
Statement.
We
Yes,
will- we
Princess is
will-
amazing. Thank you
we will
guys.
yes, absolutely.
We love you all. We appreciate you all for being here. It's so great to be on a Don't Worry Wednesday with you guys. Thanks for showing up. We had our nice party crew show up, and you guys had a lot of awesome things to say.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yes.
we just really appreciate you guys. We love you all. And that will conclude our Don't Worry Wednesday. And join us next Wednesday for the next Don't Worry Wednesday. And we will see you then.
The Wednesday edition
Yes. Very special edition where it's Wednesday.
on Wednesday.
All right.
love you
See
guys.
you guys later. Bye-bye. Peace.
Bye.